Check, check.
Love it. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Cool FM Live for our Cochise County Sports Show. I'm Dave Davies. That guy walking in is Paul Pizzy corner, but most importantly, in the middle, Coach Dennis Baker of the Buena Colts.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Good morning. Morning. Dave, Paul.
So we have ourselves a nice little quick show for y'all. We haven't had any basketball the last 2 weeks. It's been on holiday break. We are going to be resuming action tonight. We'll be in Benson, Arizona, as the Wilcox Cowgirls and Cowboys take on the Benson Bobcats. Pizzy, are you ready? You ready to get back to work?
Man, that was a good holiday break, Dave. But yeah, I mean, I miss sports. This is what we're here for. This is what our lives are about, brother. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, we got a little breaky poo.
I mean, we got a lot of NFL to talk. Wow, what a weekend that was with everything locked up. There were a few storylines going into that one.
You really want to get me into my diatribe already? You got early? Are you ready to do this?
Either which way, again, thank you everyone for joining us on our Cochise County Sports Show presented by Synergy Home Care, providing non-medical home care all across Cochise and Santa Cruz County. We just started covering San Simon. Yeah, we go out to San Simon as well. We had someone calling the other day ask, do you go out to Mawson? That would be the shortest distance we have, to be honest with you.
Is that where they're at on Mawson Road?
520-685-1035. No, that's where a potential client
Synergy.
was.
Also, thank you to Sierra Vista Golf Center at Pueblo Del Sol for having us all the time. Beautiful out here. There's nobody here today, and it's golfing weather. Get out here and come play. There's 5 cars in the parking lot. If you want to have the course all to yourself
3 of
today,
them are ours.
Yeah. If you want to have the course all to yourself today, come on down to Sierra Vista Golf Center at Pueblo Del Sol. Have I mentioned reasonably priced? Have I mentioned get the Vista card?
Oh, man.
Have I mentioned lunch special?
That special driving range is going to be done by February is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
A great date night. That's going to be open late as well. For sure. So we're going to get into this one real quick. We're going to do a little bit of a preview of the basketball season, kind of run down what's happened so far. A lot of interesting storylines coming out of it. We knew it was going to be rebuilding, but for some teams, we didn't know how big a rebuilding year it was going to be. We knew the Buena Colts, shout out Coach Dennis Baker, were going to be a force and seem to just be getting better and better and better.
We got Buena on Friday, baby.
We got Buena on a Friday. You guys actually have a game before that too, as well.
Yeah, we're back to work at Choya tomorrow night. So that means our Lady Colts are playing here in Sierra Vista tomorrow night.
I had a couple of the players in the Roadhouse. They were talking about Choya. They're talking about how good they are. And I was like, are they better than you? And they're like, no.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's going to be a tough test for y'all.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a 3-question quizzy for Pizzy and Coach nowadays.
Not what you think it is. But yes, we do have questions.
We do have questions to get over in the NFL and possibly collegiate athletics. You never know. And, of course, we will finish with Dave's diatribe. We do not have a DaveStradamus just yet. Stay tuned, folks. We might have some programming updates with maybe some baseball previews. What?
How about those Vikings?
Oh, man. It's almost like somebody called
I can't believe he's the one that says, how about them Vikings? You're bringing that up?
Sometimes you just look extra smart, you know?
You're the one that said the Vikings were for real.
I know. And then Darnold missed
the sarcasm.
And then Darnold missed 5 wide open players in the end zone.
I'm sorry. Usually I'm the one that's stoic and very monotone, not you. So,
but we're surprised that Sam Darnold actually reverted to the Sam Darnold that
I just was not. I'm sorry. When you have so, and I know he played for the Jets. I get it, and he did okay at the Panthers. But you have so much film on you not being that guy. I'm not going to believe that you're going to be that guy.
We'll get to the NFL. Let's do basketball.
Well, man, we are racking up the concurrent viewers. So, Dave, you might have to get a quiz in your head to give away some free golf here at the Sierra Vista Golf Center last week. Noah Stone from Thunder Mountain Wrestling, shout out Noah, won it. But we'll keep monitoring that chat, folks. You get enough people in here to watch us live on Cool FM, and you can go ahead and get a free 9-round
you're
golf.
Make up a trivia question?
Yeah, off the top of your head. So while you think about that, let's go ahead and jump in. As we always do, Coach Baker's here. Let's start with these Buena Colts. We'll start with the boys team.
I found a question.
As always, we'll start with the boys
Nobody's
team.
getting this one right.
Of course, Coach Baker. We all know about Jamin Booker. Jesus Pacheco's almost averaging a double-double halfway through this season. I want to get your thoughts on where your team is initially, and then I'll have a couple follow-up questions for you as well, sir.
Well, I think we're in a good place. We're beyond our non-conference schedule now, and we're getting into where the games matter the most and stuff. It's going to be a real critical month for us, the month of January. A lot of our tougher games are in this month. Our conference games are this month. So, I mean, but we're trending in the right direction. The guys are coming together. We have a team with a roster of guys that a number of guys could have a big night on any given night. And so we expect multiple guys to play well every game from here on out. And when you have a team like that, that's all you can really ask for as a coach going into it. So our goals are the same. We want to be the best team in the region, and we think we are. So it's just time to prove it at this point.
Gosh darn right you are.
I would agree with that. I think number one team in Cochise County. I was going to have a power rankings coming up here, too. Stay tuned next week, folks. Speaking of rankings, AZ Preps finally releases their official AIA rankings. You'll hear it here first on Paul and Dave's Cochise County Sports Show. Now, Coach, we talk about Jamin Booker. We talk about everyone. I'm going to give you some categories right now, and I want you to give me the player that comes to mind, the best player. We'll start off easy. We'll start off MVP of the Buena Colts halfway through the season.
Man, that's not easy
at all.
I know that's my sarcasm coming
for a coach.
No,
like, well, Clark's doing well, but then again,
right. So
Trust
many
me,
guys
have had a lot of categories.
So many different players have had great moments. I would probably say the most consistent throughout the whole early part of our season so far has been Jesus Pacheco.
Pacheco.
He's going to fill up the stat sheet. He does a little bit of everything. So I would give it to him early on if I had to.
The second category I was going to say is who's your big leader on the team? And I think that's going to double dip on that one. We know Zeus.
Probably. Yeah, Zeus. And that's probably one of the reasons why he would be the early season MVP for us is because of his leadership too. He's a team captain, and
I don't know the young man that well, but somewhere Jamin Booker's like,
yeah, right. It was on the tip of my tongue. I was gonna say,
he's over there like,
here you go, Coach.
It's a big deal that Zeus would be that because of how well Jamin plays and how much of a.
You want your layup now, or I guess since I'm going to say offensive player of the year, you want your dunk right now.
Yeah,
who's your offensive?
Make that a dunk.
Make that a dunk. Player of the year so far, Coach.
Offensive so far is Jamin Booker, but even that isn't. We say dunk and kind of tongue in cheek, jokingly, but really it's not a layup or a dunk that he would be the offensive MVP because we had a guy that broke a record for 12 three-pointers in a game, and it wasn't just that one game. He had like 25 three-pointers in a 3-game stretch, so that guy could have a gripe. They're talking about Julian Duran. He could have a gripe saying, hey, am I not the offensive MVP?
Anytime you set a record, you can sit there and swing around a little bit,
Exactly. And Zeus also like, hey, I'm leading the team in assists and things like that. So there's some offensive. I would say Jamin, just because he could go out and give you 20 each night, and we don't have to draw up a lot of offense for him to get his scoring. He can get it in transition and really get us going.
He's on the defensive rebounding. It's not all about the dunks, Jamin.
No, you can tell he's definitely.
And dunks are big because they energize the team. And you can see,
4 times in my life.
In transition, the guys are looking for him. They want him to dunk as much as they would, want to get a layup or a shot. So it does a lot for his energy and the team as well too. So I would give offensive to Jamin Booker. Yeah.
Defensive player of the year for the Buena Colts.
Ooh, that's a tough one because
I got a name in mind, but
I'm a defensive guy myself, so I tend to see things in a more team defensive mentality, but we have some really good individual defenders. Jeremy Booker, Jamin's younger brother, comes to mind. Ricardo Brooks is definitely probably our best perimeter defender. He played football, so he was coming off a football season. He's just now getting to the point
defensive
where
back in football as well.
Yeah, so
and you can kind of tell. And I don't want
to say Nelson and Clark when they're on the floor
Kingston
together.
We can put him
Nelson's
on our
amazing defender for sure.
Adam Nelson is a great. He has great instincts to get steals.
Really well as a tandem together defensively, for those guards.
Going back to Ricardo really quick and I know this is going to draw some ire from some of the boys, but just seeing him on the court. I think lateral quickness and just overall quickness and athleticism. I don't think there's anyone on your team that can beat Ricardo Brooks.
No, Ricardo
comes a lot. Everyone says physically the hardest thing to do in football is play defensive back, and you can tell he's adept in all of those.
He's that guy, and he's getting to the point now physically in basketball shape to where he's – so I would give our defensive player, or our best defensive player, is Ricardo Brooks. It's hard to give him defensive player of the year because he hasn't spent as much time starting or playing as much. Like I said, he's just getting into basketball rhythm and stuff. But for the whole season, he's probably going to end up being that. He does it all defensively. Yeah.
Just a few more to go through here. These ones might be a little redundant, but you'll answer them better. Who's your most improved player as a Buena Colt this year?
Wow. I say Sam Criado.
Yep.
That was going to be my next category.
If you folks, by the way, behind the curtain stuff, if you see me doing one of these, they're playing funk music.
Yeah, they're jamming over there.
I was
Yeah.
Like Booker.
Yeah, okay.
I'll shut
Okay.
up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll give it to Sam. Big shot Sam after, game one. He does a little bit of everything, and he fits in with the varsity team that's really good. And coming from where he was, last year, a year ago, or even as a freshman player, he was kind of overlooked at all time, all throughout his high school years. But he just kept working and just kept getting better and kept proving to coaches that he could play, and to the point now where he's a big time player for us on varsity. Yeah.
I want you to give us your most surprising player this year.
It's the same question.
No, most improved and biggest surprise is not the same question. Sam Criado.
I see the difference in the question, but that's where
Coach.
I still would give it to Sam.
Me too. That's why I was hoping you'd say someone else.
Yeah, because because of those things. I told him this and his family this as well. Like we can give him the most improved, but I wonder how much of it is his improvement and how much of it is maybe just overlooking and coaches overlooking because
just getting the
maybe
opportunity,
his size and overlooking the opportunity. So, but he played JV last year and he was able to have a leadership role on that JV team, and as opposed to being just a rotational player on varsity that doesn't get to play much. And I think that kind of got him ready for the role that he's in right now. So it was just a surprise to us coaches that he was able to be able to compete with Ricardo Brooks and Adam Nelson and Julian Durant exactly. We have studs.
You guys got depth everywhere,
and for him
your
to
job
be
is not
in
easy.
the middle in that group of guys and is a testament to his work ethic, and it kind of surprised us all. So I give that to him too.
One last category. This is going to be. I know you do a great job of pulling back and letting your organization speak for itself. So you let JV coach JV, you let freshman coach freshman, but you're always there watching.
Right.
So I know you get a little bit of a different vantage point on this one. I want you to give us our player to watch out for in the next few years, what I would say our JV MVP so far for the Buena Colts.
No, that's a good question.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Let's keep talking so we can think about it a little bit. We just spring these questions on. We don't prepare.
There's a few guys. The young studs that we have, Eli is one that stands up. We just call him Eli. I have a hard time pronouncing his last name, but anybody that's around Buena basketball is gonna know who Eli is. But he's a freshman coming in. Also, we have another kid, Caden Lee. He's a freshman. These are freshmen playing on JV because our
the JV team is doing really
good. Corey Vance is a name that everybody that follows Buena basketball will definitely know about next year. He's playing JV, but he's going to be a varsity. He's also a varsity player as well too. He's a super athlete.
Because I like to know who's coming down the pipe.
Yeah, you guys have probably seen him before. He's the kid with the dreads. He's jumping out of the gym to get rebounds.
Yep.
He's a
you can tell which
athlete.
one's which on that one.
Yeah,
sure.
he's right there, and I mean between those guys, we're in good hands for the future.
Yeah, that's
we
why I
feel
like that
good.
question because apparently we have a Jose Mendez's brother coming down the pipe for Bisbee. So I like I like looking towards the future. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, what do we got coming?
Yeah.
But let's stick with the current here.
Well, go ahead, Dave. Let's talk about these Lady Colts. Well,
that's why
before you do, I didn't say exactly where the Buena Colts are. They're 8-4 currently. No tournament records are in there. They do play Chola, and we will be at Amphitheater at home for the Buena boys. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
The only game I didn't write down stats for because we knew we'd have Coach over here. The Buena girls 4-4. Wednesday they have Choya. Again, so Coach, who's our big two for the Buena girls this year? Who's leading the scorer? Who's the leading rebounder? I the only game I didn't do stats for because I knew I had you.
Yeah. No, the Lady Colts are a good just overall team. They're not really led by any one or two players. They have a few really good players. London Richardson's a great guard and ball handler. I know you guys know of her, and she's gonna any given night she may score 20 points and have 10 assists or something like that. And Isis Perez, that's
Yep.
The center.
the center. She's gonna pretty much a walking double. She's gonna give you 10 points, 10 rebounds in most games. But there's Khalil Palacios. She's a good player on the team. There's the girl. She won. She was all tournament team in a tournament that they played in a couple weeks ago. No, that was Holman. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank on her first name. But really great shooter, and then my girl Kashari Baker, she plays on the team. So a lot of girls that could play any given night. The way their offense works, they give it to the hot hand when they get it going, and they kind of play as a team. So it's kind of balanced scoring throughout the.
No, I know. I'm
team.
not going to get a negative connotation on this, but they're 4-4. We're expecting winning record going forward with the girls.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. They had some tough competition, and then this is their first year head coach.
Okay.
Coach Perez. So coming in taking over a program that really hadn't had much success in the last couple of years. So kind of building that foundation. You kind of hope for the best, but it's a process. Rome wasn't built overnight, so it may take a couple years to really get his system getting there going. But with the type of players that we have right now, I would expect them to have a winning record throughout the rest of the season.
Well, you say it too, and second year, and I'd wager that last year's Buena Colt team could really take on this year's Buena Colt team. But this is your second year in the system. Everyone knows what's expected of them, and we're just seeing you guys are really playing good basketball.
Right, exactly right.
All right. Yeah, they're killing me with this music. Well, all right. I'm going to transition us over to the Douglas Lady Bulldogs.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Undefeated, right?
13-2.
Close enough.
13-2.
Close enough.
They are at Thatcher on Wednesday. They're at Rio Rico on Friday. Just go over some stat leaders here. Scarlett Ruiz, 14.3 points per game. Ooh, Carolina Aguiano.
Told you. What'd I tell you about? What'd I tell you about Carolina?
Carolina.
It's a different team when she's on the court. Let me tell you.
Francia Rubio 5 steals a game. So the Douglas Lady Bulldogs we'll see you in the finals.
Good luck on that playoff run. We'll be there for it. Don't you worry.
On the Buena Colts right before the playoffs, the boys, and see who can get the better of it.
We have to for sure.
I'm down. Set it up.
See if my boys can win.
Set it up.
Let's go over to the Douglas Bulldogs. Currently 11-6, I do believe. That might be 4-6. They don't have any of the tournament games in there, so that's. I've seen them win 4 games at a tournament, so that could be 12-6, I believe. They're going to be playing Thatcher at home. They're led by Diego Lopez, 23.4 points a game.
Let's go, Diego.
Ryan Felix right behind him with 17.9. And Elmer Maturena, 11.4 points per game, 3.5 assists per game. With Douglas, what we need to find out is can they overcome their size disadvantage? They have bigs, but the bigs aren't tall. And so where they can box out, they can't jump above a Jamin Booker or somebody like that, Jesus Pacheco. So Douglas, I call them the Showtime Bulldogs because they are fun to watch in transition, but they got to get the rebound in the interior set if they want to make some damage in the playoffs. But I'll tell you, Lopez, Felix, very fun players to watch.
That's a
you're
good
right.
team.
Yeah, their interior rebounding definitely needs something. But again, they don't have the size. So, I mean, it is what it is. So they're winning the way they're supposed to win. Transition speed.
Yeah, exactly.
And Elmer Arena, boy, I'll tell you what, that team goes to that kid. I like. We know about the big two, but when that kid has a game, the Douglas Bulldogs are tough to beat.
And we've seen him do it more often than not. Shout out
That's good to
Maitreya.
have three
Bruno as well.
really good players like that. Because
Yeah.
I know about Diego, and I thought they were like heavy him, but then I saw them play over a tournament. They're a quality basketball team.
Yeah,
For sure. And I think sometimes the transition offense is a little bit too prevalent in their mind, and they let up a little bit of second chance points where they shouldn't. But at the same time, I mean, Showtime, I like to watch it.
There's a give and take to whatever style that you choose to play.
Right,
and
right.
You gotta live with it. Yeah.
Well, let's transition over from one Lopez to another. We're going to go to the Bisbee Pumas, currently 8-8, 2-2 in sections. They're hosting Leading Edge tonight, actually.
Easy money.
And they do play Tombstone this week. I think that's why you had Tombstone written on your schedule. I don't know if you still get
Thursday, they have
that.
Tombstone, yes. Well, I will be at St. David on Thursday. But
Benson and St. David. That's going to be a good one,
Yes,
too.
yeah,
Ladies
yeah,
and
we're at St.
boys.
David on Thursday, yeah.
Let's start off with Sebastian Lopez. 19-8-3 is what he's averaging so far this year. Hunter Wright, 13 points, 2 steals a game. And I'll tell you, Hunter Wright coming along, he's really developing into a great basketball player as well. They've had a lot of tight games, a lot of one-possession games. They went up to Desert Christian. I got to see that one.
Any other way?
Wins and losses. So with the Bisbee Pumas, I think they need to find that third player of a big three, and I'm looking at Luis Ramirez, and he's really starting to develop. But can he develop in time to get them into the playoffs and make a postseason run? That's going to be the question for the Bisbee Pumas boys this year.
He's going to have wide open corner threes all season long. Got to make them, Luis. That's it. You're going to have wide open threes out there because of Lopez, because of his penetration. Got to make them. That's it.
Simple enough.
That's it.
Easier said than done.
I after the game in Bisbee, I was like, Ramirez, this one hit the corner three right in front of him. I'm like, come on, if the old man can do it, Luis.
Go ahead. Let's talk about the ladies.
Yeah, the Lady Pumas 6-6 on the year. They're having a good year. They have Leading Edge Academy tonight, Thursday. They're at Tombstone. We're going to find out a lot about the Lady Pumas on Thursday because we know what Tombstone is.
Right.
Alyssa Lopez, 19 points a game. Isabella Solis, 10 rebounds a game. And Nicole Seja, 4 assists, 3 steals a game.
All right.
We're not familiar with.
We broadcasted them before.
No, okay, that we haven't said a lot out here. And speaking of the Tombstone Lady Yellow Jackets, 14-3 tonight. They're at home against Desert Christian. I swear, you know what we feel. We know what we think about Desert Christian. And Thursday they got Bisbee. Let's go ahead. Who's the name? Tombstone Yellow Jackets.
For what? Oh,
everything.
Oh, the lady, Rachel Thursby, Briella
20
Schuler,
20 points a game.
Brooklyn Penrose. How many do you need?
5 steals a game.
They got a freshman. We got to learn her name too
Briella
as well.
Schuler, 10 rebounds a game. The Lady Yellow Jackets, they're all the part.
They definitely are the part.
So we don't have a team with a losing record in 2A, Douglas, or Buena.
No kidding.
We don't have a team with a losing record.
Shout out to the lady basketball players.
I'm telling you.
Going over to the Tombstone Yellow Jackets, currently 4-10, 0-2 in sections. They are home next against Desert Christian. We talked about Bisbee. Then they have 5 home games in a row, I believe. St. David's in there, Bisbee's in there. I think Morenci might be in there as well. I can't remember, but there's a lot going on for the Tombstone Yellow Jackets.
Whenever Desert Christian's a good
well, so here for the boys, we've watched the boys play. They're 4-10. Tombstone, they have the players. They play hard. They need to work on shot making and teamwork. But it's for the last 2 years for the Tombstone Yellow Jackets, it's been a very, very tough situation. They didn't have a coach last year. They rushed one in this year. So, I mean, like I said, I see the talent in the boys everywhere. But if you think you can do any sport without a coach, you're just sadly mistaken.
Yeah, 100%. On this level.
Let's get over to the Benson Bobcats, where we're going to be tonight in Benson, Arizona. Currently, the boys 3-13, much like the Bisbee Pumas, playing a lot of close games, but they're coming out on the wrong end of them more often than not. So they do host Wilcox tonight. Dominic Villa leads the team with 12 points per game. Dawson Judd and Harley Van Wormer each with 7 rebounds per game. So physicality and toughness not the issue for the Benson Bobcats. They lost Payne. We talk about it all the time. They're going to talk about this for 2 years probably. They lost Payne. They lost Crockett. The ability to score anywhere on the floor is gone, and they just have to find that again. Basketball It's a simple game. Put it through the hoop.
If you look at social media, there's something about Benson and Wilcox when these teams get together. They are both fired up right now. They tonight's game. They got Spirit Week going in Wilcox. Benson is ready. Like, this is going to be a big game. The girls and boys tonight, and we're doing both, by the way. We have 2A going forward. You're getting girls and boys.
One of our first games that we did outside Bisbee was Benson and St. David, and I asked Aiden Fitch at that time, who's your bigger rival, St. David or Wilcox? And he said St. David, and I was like, there's no way. Yeah. It's definitely Wilcox. Maybe in basketball.
There's Wilcox week where, like, Benson is fired up. They want to get their season back on track tonight against the Cowboys.
Big game. Big game.
It is for them, yeah.
Well, and this is a Wilcox team. I mean, we're going to transition over in a second. You know what? Let's just save it. Go ahead, Dave.
What?
For the Wilcox.
I was going to talk about the Benson girls.
Go for the Benson girls first, and then we'll transition to Wilcox.
There's some exciting stuff going on over here. Again, winning records all around. 10-6. They got Wilcox tonight. They are pumped up for this game. They're at St. David on Thursday. We know what that means. So, Kaylee Taylor. 13 points a game, 12 rebounds a game. 13 and 12.
She was averaging 20-something last year. Come on, Kaylee. What are we doing now?
Jayla Taylor Cruz and Kerry Taylor, also big players for the Benson Lady Bobcats.
Shout out, Kerry.
Let's go to their opponents. That's going to be the Wilcox Cowgirls, 10-3 tonight at Benson. Thursday, they're home against St. Augustine Catholic. Excuse me. And so right back to Wilcox. These teams are so evenly matched. I can't wait for this game tonight.
Oh, it's going to be nuts.
Maddie Bennett, 11.7 rebounds a game, and Addison Burwright. What do we got here? She's leading the team in assists, steals, and blocks. So it's going to be a good.
We'll just say it this way.
No offense, boys, but we're
here for the girls.
We're there for tonight, baby.
Here's the thing.
The boys are just like the Sunday after the.
I had a game that I could have joined you. Oh, shout out Cochise College Wednesday. But I had another game that I could have joined you with, and it was St. David or Benson. And everyone knows how much I love St. David, and I chose Wilcox Benson girls going up against each other because that's going to be the matchup.
Let's get it on, baby.
For sure. Let's go over to the Wilcox boys real quick. 6-5, currently 1-0 in section. That one came over Bisbee as well.
Talk about a surprising year out of the Wilcox Cowboys. Them boys are not basketball players out there.
They lost Lane Wetton.
Yeah.
You know?
And those boys are not basketball players out there. They are.
They're proving you wrong, brother. Be careful with what you say, Dave. You're beloved in Wilcox, Arizona. That can change.
I'm saying we know what Wilcox is. They are strong country boys. Like, basketball is not that, baseball, football, sure. But they are doing very well right now. You were saying, how well are they doing?
Larry Bird's a country boy.
What?
Larry Bird was a country boy.
Yes, he was.
I was going to say someone else, but he's got allegations on him, so we're not going to.
Driveway. We're not going to about Larry Bird. That's how he hurt his back.
We're not going to talk about the post office on this show today. So, 6-5, Wilcox 1-0. They have Benson tonight. They also have St. Augustine Catholic and Morenci. So nothing but section plays, like Coach was saying over here, coming up. And Morenci's going to be a big one. Morenci, the juggernaut they are, still, I believe, with one loss on the season, undefeated in sections. Talk about Caden Hooper, 16-7. Jerry Reyes, 7, 6, and 2 assists a game. J.D. Wetton, Lane Wetton's younger brother, 8 points per game. This could be it for the Wilcox Cowboys to finally get over that hump of postseason play. Bisbee's in a retooling year, and we expect Bisbee to be there. Benson, again, they lost so much that they are rebuilding. They're not going to – they still have sections. Don't quote me on that one. Benson looks all the part that they're not going to be there. They only have Morenci, and they only have Desert Christian in their conference. It's in their way. Wilcox holds all the cards to their postseason berth right now.
You're talking about Bisbee. Bisbee is at 500. Wilcox has a winning record. Bisbee has been running this show for a very long time. Wilcox is like, I've had enough of it. We're going to take it.
Pima's gone.
Pima's gone, yeah. No more stupid Pima.
I thought it was stupid Morenci. But yeah, so Wilcox, they got everything in front of them, and the way they're playing right now, they got a big one against Bisbee. You follow that up. St. Augustine Catholic's going to be a win for sure, and then you have Morenci coming in. You do anything against Morenci, you look competitive. There's no moral victories, but you show that you can compete with Morenci. The sky's the limit.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, so I'm going to be in St. David on Thursday. What am I going to be watching?
You want to go with the boys first? Let's go over to the boys first. They're currently 5-5. They play at Safford, and then, like you said, home against Benson. So with St. David,
getting some love this week.
For St. David, it has to be finding your identity. They don't have stats up right now, but we've seen them play enough. Cooper Merrill, Gannon Carafa, Keston Richardson, all the boys over there doing big things. And they need to find an identity. And I think, for me personally, that identity is going to be throwing Keston Richardson on one side, throwing Gannon Carafa on the other side, and outsizing people. Now, I know Keston and Gannon,
Carafa running the point right now.
they can hit three-pointers with the best of them, but I want them to outsize teams in 1A right now. That's how I think St. David could win. Far be it for me to be a coach in something that I don't know anything about in basketball, but
well, it's always surprising when you see 6'5" running the ball, and you're like, but
that's credit to how talented they are. But when we talked about the St. David championship team last year with the girls, Anissa Hawkes was in the paint, and she was their best ball handler as well. So, I mean,
But to your point, especially in 1A, I mean, that's you're a 5.
yeah, he's always
most
6'5".
they're 6'3", 6'5". Carafa's 6'5",
Normally,
Richardson
they're gonna put
6'3".
you at the 5, but if he has those type of skills and those type of abilities, then he could be a real dynamic player. And credit to them if they're having success doing that.
Yeah, it's a strange one. When you look at him, you're like, all right, he's not the ball handler. And then all of a sudden, he's bringing up the ball. You're like,
Point
okay.
forward. We have a lot of point forwards this year, actually, now that I think about it.
Lopez, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and everybody.
And the other Lopez.
Yeah,
all the
Lopez.
Lopezes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Anissa Lopez. Alyssa Lopez. Yeah.
Well, the game is just like kids these days, they all practice shooting threes and dribbling the ball and doing crossovers and stuff like that. And then sometimes they grow to be 6'4", 6'5", but they still have those abilities because that's what they been working on the whole time since they were growing up.
Well, you know the whole David Robinson story. That's why he was so
Yeah.
good at that, because he was 6'6" when he went into the Naval Academy.
Yeah, and then just hit a growth spurt,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Same,
Same.
7'2", but he can handle the ball.
Anthony
He's 6'6",
Davis is
then hit a growth spurt.
Right, exactly.
You didn't know that about David Robinson? He grew 8 inches
I didn't
in
know that.
college.
But
That's
saying
crazy.
6'6", and then like you didn't have a growth spurt to reach 6'6" already, but
Right?
But yeah, I know as far as Buena, we played in a preseason tournament where we played couple of the top like teams in Phoenix, like 6A teams, and we looking in the layup lines, and they have a couple bigs, like 2 big guys. They're probably like 6'8", maybe 6'6", between 6'6" and 6'8". So we're like, okay, we're looking at our bigs, which we don't even have anybody that big, but our bigs, we're like, okay, you got this one, you got that one. And by the time the game starts, those are the 2 guards bringing the ball up the floor.
And all of a sudden, Clark's like, me?
Right. So you're like, oh, wait. And we have this press, scheduled to do. We're going to be pressing and stuff. And it's really hard to press guys that are that big and they could just see over and just pass it to one another. And so, like, hey, these days, these big kids, especially if they're wanting to play at the next level, if they're 6'4", 6'5", the advice they're giving is that, hey, be a guard now so you have those skills and it'll translate for you better at the next
I
level.
was set up for failure.
Rachel Davies in the chat. Our first comment, we forgot to tell people to comment. We are live, folks. Says, looking good. Thank you, Rachel. She didn't say sounded good. That's got me scared, but whatever.
I'm your father. You better say that.
But it goes back to, like, you saying NBA players, and they're so athletic now. LeBron James at 6'8", moves like a guard. Victor Wembanyama is 7 feet 1 inches.
7'4".
Joel
7'4", yeah.
Embiid is 7 feet tall, running the point as well. Like, the athleticism nowadays is off the chart. Now, that does go back to when you have these big guys and they're doing all these athletic moves on a hard court. For me, I think that's why we see so many injuries in the NBA now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Joel Embiid's also built like a Tesla Cybertruck. I mean, just tap on the thing and it's going to fall out of break.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah, sure. You are.
Anyway, let's talk about the St. David Lady Tigers before we get too wrapped up in the sauce. The defending 1A state champion, St. David Lady Tigers. My mistake.
And they are getting their season on track right now. They're 5-7. Tonight they're in Safford. Thursday they're home against Benson. See you there, ladies. Let's see here. Emma Hart leading the team in scoring, 16 points a game.
Super sophomore.
Gracie Crockett, 13 a game, 8.5 rebounds.
Super
4 assists
senior.
a game. And Paige Evans, 7 steals a game.
Wow.
Paige is running that guard with Emma Hart. Sometimes she would spell her out of the point from the games we saw. But I do want to give special mention to Gracie Crockett, because last year, unsung hero on that championship team. We always talked about May Latreo. We always talked about Anissa Hawkes. And Emma Hart was a freshman playing the big minutes that she did starting. And Gracie Crockett just does her job. And by the way, always smiles. She gets hit in the face. She just starts smiling about it. I don't know if that's a nervous twitch or something. But
I love St. David Day. I can't wait for Thursday. It's going to be wonderful. And I'm going to transition us over to the Valley Union girls. 3-7 on the year.
I had expectations for him this year.
Yeah, they're 3-7. They're going to start their sectional games. We're not done yet.
No, but talking at the tournament to them, it was tough for them just to field a team in basketball this year.
Yeah. Again, a smaller community. They're home on Thursday against Lord's Catholic. Lexi Boss, 11 points, 11 steals a game.
11.
No, I did not. Okay, 11 points, 1.5 steals a game. I was like, no. And Kylie Gilbreth, 9 points and 6 rebounds.
So you got 11 steals a game. There's no way you're 3-7.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, that's a comma. I was like, what? And so that's Valley Union. Yes.
Well, it doesn't get any better for the boys, Dave. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They are 0-8, 0-3 in sections. They do have Lord's Catholic. There's no stats on them, but again, we talked about the losses they had, and it was always going to be tough. And the players that opted out. And shout out to the boys. Thank you.
Player in 1A. Yeah, you're going to notice it.
This is what we call character building. And when you got nothing to play for and you show up day to day, you put in the work to try to get a win at this point, and you go out there and you give your best effort, that builds character. That says a lot about you as a person. So keep going at it, Valley Union boys. Love the Blue Devils. Gorgeous athletic facilities everywhere we've been in Valley Union.
Yep.
Only team that has a state championship in every decade.
Shout out JP Weldon. Where is JP nowadays?
I know, right? What happened to JP? Are you okay, JP?
I think he's just around for football, and that's it.
Well, I'm going to go. I've ran out of water already before my diatribe, so while you talk about Marine, I'll be right back.
We
talk about somebody.
Let's talk about the Buena Academy Eagles, currently the second winless team that we have in Cochise County, 0-6, 0-3 in sections. They do play basis out of Mesa, but we do have stats on the Buena Academy Eagles. Oh, we actually have San Simone stats too. Dave messed that up. I'll just go over both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Well, why not?
Jeremiah Armstrong for the Buena Academy Eagles, 10.8 points per game, also averaging 5.4 assists a game. Elijah, I
believe in you. You can do it.
My bad. I wrote that name. He's averaging 7 and 5, and then Israel Ortiz and David Johnson also coming in there with 8.5 and 7.5 rebounds per game for the Buena Academy Eagles, the winless Eagles, unfortunately, so far this season. But thank you. Shout out to the stats for everybody getting those to me.
I actually do have some stats on the Lady Eagles over here. 1-3 on the year. They are at Alta Vista on Thursday. Mariana Sloan leading the team in points and steals, and Kamara Golden, 9.5 rebounds a game. So not a lot of games being played for Marine. I think it's kind of a sporadic thing.
Canadian athletics, it's always tougher. They always, especially because they're all over, and most of them are going to be in the Valley. Right. Before we get away from the AIA, though, Dave, we forgot San Simone. San Simone currently 3-9. The boys, they're 2-2 in sections. The same section that St. David resides in.
Existed and we didn't know about them?
No, this is the first year that they fielded a varsity roster. I went back and I tried to, according to Max Preps, it's the first year that they fielded a varsity roster. They played the Gregory School up next. And I do have stats over the holidays. Mason Brown, 8 points per game, 9.4 rebounds per game. Rhett Wade is also at 6.8 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game. Joel Martinez leads the team with 3.2 assists per game. And then Marcos Hernandez also averaging 4 rebounds per game for the San Simone Longhorns.
Yeah, again, we should have gotten them on the schedule at some point. I had no idea. Talk about the ladies, 7-11 on the year.
A lot of section games coming up.
Well, yeah, 7-11 on the year for a program that never existed. They're home against the Gregory School. They got Patagonia. Oh, this is my hard one. I saw this one last night. I apologize if I don't pronounce this correctly. Betsabe Castellanos.
Nailed it.
Leading the game in points per game and assists. Holly Keel, 6 rebounds a game. 7-11 for a program that never existed. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. And my last one, ALA, there is nothing on the internet. They are 0-2. They don't have a game scheduled. Not sure what's going on with ALA. But the good news is, before you get to the boys, I did run into Mr. Williams and his father, Coach Williams, at Texas Roadhouse.
At ALA?
We are covering your last home game on February 3rd. Get ready for the Paul and Dave show.
Awesome.
We're not going to miss it.
Nice.
He's actually going to break 1,000 points on Bisbee Ring Day. on the 17th. So they invited us to do that game, and I'm like, unfortunately, we have something slightly more pressing to do that day because we would have been there for that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
But,
for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's busy.
We got to talk about that too, by the way, Coach.
It's the ring ceremony on the
Coach
17th.
Champ just called about that. We do have some comments in the chat. Katie McDonald says, I've been here. Looks good. Sounds good. It's all clear. Thank you, Katie. Rachel also says, you guys always sound great. Of course, she's your daughter. So
She has to lie to me.
there's a bias for that one. Katie also said San Simone added St. David on, they added San Simone February 2nd or 3rd, so they had no idea either. All I know from San Simone, because if you search Max Preps, they also combined with Bowie for a point in time, but they have been long gone since before we started doing this. So, whatever, San Simone Longhorns, we're gonna be there sometime. Hopefully, I mean they play Valley Union and they play St. David in section, so we can find some time.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out.
Let's go over to the ALA boys. 7-2, currently riding that hot 6-game win streak.
Highest points per game in the nation right now.
Highest, the hottest team in Cochise County, sorry Colts, are the ALA Guardians. I do believe that is their name. And they do have Breen coming up this week as well. I believe that's on the 9th, maybe a little bit later. But CJ Williams, 42.7 points per game, not to be lost in the sauce. Also averaging 4.5 assists per game. Let's not lose sight of Porter Jones, who is a freshman for the Guardians. It's basketball. I know one player can take over, but he can't win by himself. Porter Jones, 15 points per game. And Owen Onstead, shout out, leading the team in rebounds with 5.3 rebounds per game. Coach, a kid you're very familiar with, C.J. Williams, of course, you say it all the time. He played with your boys in a lot of summer ball and things like that. A kid that you couldn't be more impressed with.
Yeah, I mean, those numbers scoring are impressive no matter what level you're doing.
I couldn't do it against middle school talent.
He's a great shooter, great player. I haven't had a chance to see any of his games. But, I take that back. I watched a game that was on Cool FM.
Yeah, they have a couple.
Yeah, I looked at that.
You're kind of busy with your own,
exactly.
winning program.
Exactly. But no, great athlete, great shooter, great scorer, and a really great kid. I've had a couple conversations with him over the summer when they first moved into town. Him and his dad, they're great people, great addition to the community here. And it couldn't happen for a better kid, it seems like. I mean, he's got his head on his shoulders and is really gonna, give his all with this, and I'm happy for him. And that's impressive. Like
he's not a big kid either.
Think the top scorer in the country, that's really a big deal. And I think
in all of America, folks, the top scorer in all of America resides in Sierra Vista, Arizona. Let's think about that.
Right, and you're right. He's not big. It's not like we're talking about some 7'3" kid that's just dunking on all the little kids or something like that. No, he's a guard that can really score the basketball, and he's just he's a good defensive player too. I mean, he's just an all around great player, and he deserves all the credit he gets.
And he's got a great basketball name.
Dad, do you know that the kid scrimmages with like Muggsy Bogues and Mario Chalmers? He has he's in camps with these guys.
I'd say shout out KU, but I hate the Jayhawks, Mario Chalmers, so whatever.
Did he win them a national title?
I think so. I care. I don't pay attention. When Missouri bust, which is all the time, I kind of stopped watching basketball. It is what it is. I think that's going to do it for our high school coverage. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for that one. Shout out to all the teams that are doing well. And don't forget, the season is ramping up. The games mean more now than ever. We're going to start to see our playoff teams take shape, and hopefully they go ahead and get us back to Prescott somehow, even though the decision has been made not to do that.
Don't take away Prescott from us.
We
found a golf course we really like up there. Okay?
And it's not a good one.
No, it's a little junker. It's what I belong at.
Coach, I'm telling you, you're in the fairway and you're in a divot that big. So we just go ahead and move it and place it wherever we want to.
That golf course.
But it's fun to play. It's a fun track.
Whenever you get to buy your tee time in the bar, you're in the right golf.
You know what I like about it? Oh, yeah, no, it's not a joke. It's like, you want a drink too?
Yeah, you have to go to the bar. Are you guys also playing golf?
Golf is kind of like baseball to me in that I like unique. You know, when we talk about the Astros center field is unique and the monster and all that stuff. And that I could not have seen a more unique course than this. We basically had a hole that went rubber band on us and went backward. It was cool. Anyway, no one cares about that. Nobody cares about our adventures, but just know that Prescott is a place we love to go. Dave, that's going to do it for our high school. Do we have any questions that you want to get off your chest to me?
Yeah, we're going to do this a little differently today. I have one question because I knew Coach was going to be here, and then we are just going to go full Pizzy-damus on the NFL playoffs.
Oh, I'm going to have to predict them?
So, Coach, we're going to start with you.
Remember I picked the Super Bowl winner last year?
All right, we'll get there. So, Coach, we're going to start with you. This is a source of contention in the NBA right now. So Jimmy Butler's on the move.
What happened with that? I've only heard bits and pieces.
I don't know. What's your opinion? What happened with Jimmy Butler? He has now been suspended by the Miami Heat. He will not be playing basketball for the next couple of weeks for them as they find themselves a suitable trading partner.
Jimmy Butler, Tyreek Hill, things aren't going good in Miami right now.
Hey, it is a Miami.
State tax.
It is a Miami.
80 degrees every day.
You're on South Beach. Come on, what is there to complain about? The Jimmy Butler thing, man, I have a different opinion on because he kind of has a history of getting unhappy after a couple years, and it seems to be everybody else's fault all the time. And so knowing that about him, and you have to kind of take that. The suspension thing, I think that's kind of Pat Riley of the owner or the president of Miami organization. Is putting his foot down and saying, well, we don't stand for that type of talk that's detrimental to the team. Obviously, you're not a team player if you're using the media to air this out.
I love Jimmy
a lot of times. A lot of people do. He kind of represents old school basketball a little bit more.
But you're right, though. He's a malcontent. He's whining through the media. But you're absolutely right.
And I think, it's not normal. I mean, it's not abnormal for a team to sit a player that requests a trade because you can't risk that player getting hurt and not being able to trade them now. The suspension part is just them saying, not only are we going to sit you, you're actually suspended so that we show how we feel about this whole time, how we feel about this whole situation. And he will be traded. He'll go somewhere, and hopefully he'll go somewhere where he'll be on a contender, and I think he'll be happy for a little while, and then he won't.
Well, okay.
Miami's a contender, though. They never do good in the regular season.
Not so much this year.
But this is their MO.
You're exactly right, though.
And then it's playoff Jimmy's going to carry him to the championship.
They are following the same pattern that they always have. So, and honestly, him being unhappy and kind of causing a riff in the locker room is also par for the course as well, too. It's just that when he takes it to the media and actually demanding a trade, that's a step too far. Yeah. And you can't reel that back in. But he's gotten in fights with the coach, and he's done a lot of, had a lot of questionable moments within his time in Miami, not just elsewhere, but elsewhere as well. So, teams are going to beware. I've already heard that there's not a whole lot, offered for Jimmy Butler right now.
There's an offer right now on the that's what I might follow.
Alleged, or is it really?
If you're a Phoenix Suns fan, there's an offer on the table right now.
How many times the Suns going to mortgage the future for a superstar?
There's an offer on the table right now. Bradley Beal, Jurkic, and draft picks for Jimmy Butler. If you're a Suns fan, do you want Jimmy Butler playing with Kevin Durant?
Can I answer that first? As a person that has really been negative on the Suns and how they've moved and done their business, I would accept that trade with Bradley Beal. I don't think
I would too.
Well, that contract.
I would too.
And I question the Suns' leadership. Not in leader, but on the court leadership and things like that. I don't think they're going to be able to reel in Jimmy Butler, but they got to get away from Bradley Beal, in my opinion.
I feel like it's in some ways a lateral move because you're getting Bradley Beal is a phenomenal scorer. He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, with the
Jimmy Butler is too.
Bradley Beal's been benched though.
In some ways, it's a lateral move, but it could be the lateral move that works because it's obvious to me that the Phoenix situation is not working now. So to do nothing would be not even trying to me. So if I'm Phoenix, I would do that trade just to shake things up, even though I know the history of Jimmy Butler, but the history of Jimmy Butler would tell us he's going to be good for 2 years. He's not going to whine and cry and cause a problem, at least for 2 years. We're stuck with the Bradley Beal contract.
In 2 years, the Phoenix Suns will have no equity to field or to put a basketball roster out. So just go for broke already.
You have to. You're already in that situation
Exactly.
where you're paying 3 guys max contract money. So the only
Some would say they don't earn it.
But if you're a Suns guy though, what is our big thing? Can't finish. Like Durant, Booker aren't finishing. What does Jimmy Butler do? He's a killer. You know what I mean? So if anything, you're bringing that element over to the Phoenix Suns.
Well, and you say loud will move too. We're going to take it over to European soccer. One of the biggest names is Mo Salah from Liverpool right now, Mohamed Salah. And if anyone's familiar with his game, I think it was Chelsea. He was on Chelsea. He couldn't make the first team forever. And they moved him, and all of a sudden he's a superstar with Liverpool. Just getting into a different situation is kind of what you need at times.
And because some of it is a different situation, some of it is a different motivation. What I was saying about Jimmy Butler, for 2 years, you're going to get really good Jimmy. That's been his MO. When he gets somewhere new, he takes that team.
Well, and almost to prove a point. Like when he left Minnesota, he's like, all right, well, watch this.
Right. The watch this Jimmy is good.
Yeah.
Right.
How did Philly ever let that guy go?
Phoenix could get that guy. So I would definitely shake things.
Well, to your point, Coach, I think they're going to get him for at least a year. And it's sunshine, and we've all been to the Valley. I love Phoenix and Tempe and Scottsdale and Mesa and all that stuff.
You're the only one.
Scottsdale's amazing.
And NBA money
Scottsdale's amazing.
In order to acquire Jimmy Butler, you have to give up another max contract type player. No other team has 3 guy or has a situation that Phoenix has, which they have 3 max contract guys and they can give up one of them and still keep 2.
God, Phoenix is
Any other team would have to give up either their best player or their second best player. So
you're right. Yeah, for Phoenix, they'll get rid of. Yeah. Oh, all right. That's why I want to have.
Great question, Dave.
Yep.
That was it.
Hey, good job answering too, Paul. You're welcome. No problem, Dave.
I brought in the basketball guy for the basketball question.
You could give me credit too eventually. I mean, this is what it is. I'm done.
All right. All right. Let's just do this.
He gave an answer that didn't include the Chiefs.
Oh, snap.
I didn't have a question.
How long if he figured this out? Well, if I was Patrick Mahomes, I would just trade for Jimmy Butler. We could probably use him at running back.
Hey, you asked the questions, Dave, and what do I have to compare him to? You want me to go back to the Patriots? Like, this is the one that everyone's looking to be is the Patriots.
Go, I love it. Coach with the burn.
I mean, it would be easier if Dave didn't ask questions and get mad about the Chiefs on the stream. Then I have to defend them, but it is what it is. Speaking of,
the Chargers are going into Houston. Who wins the game?
Chargers.
Just like that?
Just like that. It's not a contest.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on to the good ones then. They're going
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't believe in the Chargers at all. But I think Houston is. We've seen this.
They just signed Zeke Elliott.
Did they really sign Zeke?
Yeah, they signed Zeke Elliott.
Well, we've seen this over and over and over again. Is generally out of the South teams, AFC or NFC, where they just don't perform and they're inconsistent and they're not going to make a run in the playoffs. Yeah. And it sucks because C.J. Stroud was going to be that guy. He was the truth. They have injuries. I'm not saying it's a walk that the Chargers are gonna beat them because Houston
they're a dog walk them.
Chargers aren't that explosive team though. That's the thing too. Is like it's going to be close. So, but I just think the Chargers are going to come out in the end on top.
Like one of those 17-14 games.
I would say a little more than that. 2017, 21-17.
Get embarrassed. I think it's going to be like a 6-point outing.
They got pride. And they got players.
Ever since Tank Dell went down, it was all over.
And Joe Mixon back?
Yes.
Okay. That's a big player for him.
That's a big-time player.
All right, so the Baltimore Ravens have trouble with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the game's in Baltimore. Who do you like? Baltimore has historically had trouble with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They have trouble with the Steelers, but you can't pick up against the Baltimore Ravens right now. They finally figured out their defense. Pittsburgh is just finding different ways to lose over and over and over. They lost to one of the worst teams in football last week, the Cincinnati Bengals at 9-8, and it was Russell Wilson's fault. Like, just
what?
Some teams find ways to win. Some teams find ways to lose.
Mysteries at some point.
What's up?
George Pickens is a psychopath. He's going to be like the subject of an unsolved mystery.
He is, and it's just the Pittsburgh Steelers are just trending in the wrong direction, much like the Houston Texans. Baltimore, they've been offensively one of the top teams in the NFL all season. That defense is starting to come along now. You got to. For my money, I don't know. Are we going through the whole playoffs?
Well, there's only 2 more games. No.
Okay, just the wild card. So for my money, I feel like if Baltimore goes into Buffalo, they beat Buffalo as well, and we have the championship, Chiefs and Baltimore. So I feel like Baltimore.
Oh, he's already written it all down.
I just feel like
I love this one seed. The Chiefs or the Patriots. Who are you going to play in the second round? Who's going to be your opponent?
Dave. Last year, we played a 11-win Miami Dolphin team at home. We went to Buffalo and beat them. We went to Baltimore and beat them.
Who are you playing
What are you
this
talking?
year?
There he goes. It's this year. But then I bring up that we beat Baltimore. He's like, that was earlier this year, though. Like, come on. What are you talking about?
Like,
Denver, if Denver upsets Buffalo, which no, I'm not going to say.
3 wild cards?
Yeah, there's 3 wild cards. So you want to do Denver, Buffalo next?
Oh, I can't wait for my diatribe. God!
So Denver, Buffalo. This one's interesting.
Really?
Because Denver has that defense. Denver has a defense. Last year they beat Buffalo with the same defense, and that defense was underperforming last year.
This is Buffalo and Detroit are on a path right now.
I think so.
Anything less
I think
than
so
the Super
too.
Bowl
I
is a
can't.
failure.
There's got to be an upset.
Facts.
There's got to be an upset.
There has to be an
If there's
upset.
It's going to be Pittsburgh over Baltimore.
And I disagree with that. I don't think Pittsburgh can do it. I think they're trending in the wrong direction. I don't think they believe in themselves. I think the last few now they did have the 3 games in what was it, 10 days, whatever that everyone had, and they lost all 3 of those. They come off refreshed or playing for their postseason lives, and then they lay an egg against Cincinnati. And game management. So if you lose the game by game management, in my opinion, that automatically just discredits you as a contender to me. Because in the postseason, you're going to have make the right decisions, quarterback and coaches, and they're just not doing it.
Hard to argue that.
Katie McDonald, I guess we're going to get to the Rams here in a second. But if I had to pick an upset
Who
this
won
weekend,
that game on Sunday?
it would be, what are you talking about?
Seattle
Oh,
Rams. Yeah, same record, tied for the.
I thought you were going to give me a Cincinnati question. I was ready for that. I was going to be like, why are you mad about Cincinnati not getting in and not Seattle, who got the 10 wins, but whatever. If I had to pick an upset, it'd be Denver over Buffalo, but I'm not going to do that. Just because Josh Allen feels like you said, he's on a mission this year. A mission from God. Now, we have seen bad Josh Allen this year, but it's been sporadically. Does he try to do too much in a postseason game where the defense is taking a lot away? Because Denver's defense is going to take a lot away. That's the question.
I think Buffalo's going to go huge with like a 20-point victory and feel really good going into the second round of the playoffs.
Well, this happens to Buffalo. They play terrible quarterbacks in the first round. They get bounced in the second round. That's their MO. They had
Who are you playing in your first game again?
Skylar Thompson.
Reach for the Skylar.
They had Skylar Thompson. They had, golly, how many bad quarterbacks did they go through just to get to the second round?
Well, let's
Tyler Huntley.
Let's leave Katie McDonald to segue.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
Let's
go
talk
ahead.
about the stupid Rams. Let's talk about the stupid. Who are they even playing? Who cares?
The Buccaneers, right?
No, Tampa Bay has Washington. So the Rams.
Oh, yeah, they
have
won the
Green
division.
Bay.
Ooh.
If the Rams have Green Bay, the Rams are going to the second.
You're the
round.
one asking the questions. You're supposed to have this researched.
I don't know. Seattle got busted. I don't care. With 10 wins, who cares?
Rams lost, so they should be this. Who would be the 5? So 5 is Minnesota.
I'm actually.
Minnesota's
I
the
never
5.
had
Rams are the
to actually go
6.
look at this.
Who's the
That's a little
7? Washington's the 7?
All right, let's see here. No, stop it. All right, let's see. Green Bay's at Philly. The Rams have the Vikings.
Oh, man. How can you pick that game, Dave? How can you pick that game? You got
The Vikings just laid a flat egg against the Detroit Lions. Last week, how confident I was.
Confidence.
somebody, Coach, if you remember, somebody called that happening. I had to listen to the
I did
Vikings.
too. I did.
Oh, did you? I
We
forget.
both
I lost $30 to Miguel Rivas.
We both did. We both knew what was going to happen in that situation.
Push come to shove. Sam Darnold.
said that Minnesota's going to be has the worst quarterback of all of the teams.
You
in the
did say
NFC
that, I
in the
remember.
playoffs.
And you know what? You know.
wide open players.
You know what's even worse about that is the Detroit Lions are rolling out 4th and 5th string cornerbacks, and he couldn't
Win
throw.
the game. Defense.
They couldn't throw on him.
Defense.
Yeah.
So you got
But
the Rams.
I don't believe
But I
in the
will
Rams.
say this though: I don't necessarily believe in the Rams either. I think the Minnesota thing. I think they get their act together after a bad showing this week next week is going to, or should say last week. This week, I think they
So you're taking the
get
Vikings?
better. For this round, yes.
I'll be
Yes.
a contrarian. I'll take the Rams.
Okay. Any
Well,
particular reason why?
Yeah, well, okay. So
think
Kevin
that
O'Connell's
was
0-1 in the playoffs. Who did he lose to?
That was 2 years ago. I don't know. It was
At home.
That was 2 years ago. Who was
At
it?
home. Daniel Jones and the New York Giants.
Oh, that's right.
Not only did they lose to him, they dog walked him at home.
Oh.
So, I mean, do I think Sam Darnold's played better than Kirk Cousins? Yeah. Do I think he's a better quarterback? No. Then king of the mids, Kirk Cousins, not a chance. I think Sam Darnold, hey, he played himself to mid of the mids this year. Good job. But, yeah, no. So I'll take the Rams.
What is it that you like about the Rams so much?
Explosive. Now they're not consistent. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. You got to do the three-headed monster with them. Defensively, they are underwhelming. The offense is underperforming for the talent that they have. So I don't like that at all.
They look like garbage for the last month.
They have looked like garbage, and just like the Minnesota Vikings did last week. I'm sorry, that left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
You're playing a preseason. You're playing a preseason defense, and you can't. And like you said, they were open. JJ's open. Like I'm sitting there, like, how many throws are you going to miss? Just calm down.
Wasn't ready for the moment.
Wasn't ready for the moment. Missing high too. You could tell he was just trying to place the ball where it needed to go. Got to throw it.
So, how much is Philly going to beat Green Bay by? Christian Watson is never going to dance.
Is Jalen Hurts clear to
Yeah, he's
concussion?
playing.
Yeah, he's good.
Again, with Christian Watson going down, Green Bay looks
I-
like garbage.
What's the line?
Let's see here. They don't have it on this.
The line is probably 7 or 8.
For a playoff game, that'd be crazy, but it's probably good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably accurate. Huh?
Well,
That's it.
if Kendrick Copeland's
it's-
watching, Green Bay's going to win it, brother. No, I'm just kidding.
Philly's been whooping people with
No.
quarterbacks.
I'm not.
The
So,
line is over 8. I'm taking it.
so the thing that goes against Green Bay is they're 1-5 in their own division this year, and the division includes Chicago. So that should have been 2 wins.
They lost to Caleb.
Now they had
Williams.
Minnesota and
lost to
they had Detroit,
Caleb
which are 2 tough. But if you're going to, these are the teams you're going to play in the playoffs. And for my money, I told you last week, I think Philly's the out and out best team in the NFC. I think they're the only juggernaut. So I don't think Green Bay's going to go in there and win. I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
That's what I said. How much is Philly going to win by?
Unless for some reason Green Bay goes up 11, all of a sudden we see Philly fighting on the sideline,
punching each other.
Big Dom and Nick Sirianni, and everyone just throwing punches at
Brown
players.
goes all Antonio Brown on
But
it,
you don't
just walks
you
out.
don't think that the Lions could potentially give Philly that same scenario?
I do.
Or
But
even the Buccaneers,
I
Tampa
think
Bay. I think that all the teams in the NFC, the top teams, Philly, Detroit, to me, they potentially could lose to like a Tampa Bay or even a Minnesota because they're not as explosive as the best teams on the AFC to me. Philly can be because AJ Brown and but still to me, I think they could be a lower scoring.
I completely agree with that. It's Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City. Those are the 3 best teams.
I think you throw
Anytime you're
Philly in
dealing
there.
playoff football and scores are typically lower, then anybody can win. Like Tampa Bay might score 21 points and that be good enough to beat a Philly or Detroit. Whereas I think when you're going against Patrick Mahomes, going against Josh Allen,
You said it, not me.
you're gonna have to score in the 30s, to get out of there with a win.
Good segue, Coach.
Well-
Tampa Bay. Game of the week, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa Bay and the Commanders.
And Washington is another team that I think could potentially beat Philly
Washington's at Tampa.
Yes.
or Detroit.
So again, they had to get to Tampa Bay, Washington. That is tough.
To quote my favorite show, my favorite sports show, the vibes are right in Tampa Bay right now. Kevin Wildes and the vibe alert. The vibes are right. After that, Mike Evans, they got him. He's celebrating on the sideline. Reminded me a lot of the sack Chris Jones had 2 years. Like, what are they doing?
Seriously, why did we dog
He gets
Cooper
a
Rush
bonus?
like that?
He gets a bonus.
Why did we
Everybody
dog
gets a bonus.
Cooper
Gino made
Rush
$6 million
like
on Sunday.
Well, to be fair, you want your playoff teams going in very happy, and you want your underperforming teams to be like, you should have earned this by taking us to the playoffs.
You're right. What
No,
did
I
Rush
have
do?
I have Tampa Bay in that one. They still have remnants of the defense that won them the Super Bowl in 2020 that held the Chiefs without a touchdown. You're welcome. And that Super Bowl. So they still have a couple players on that team, Winfield Jr. and whatever. But so I think they can get it together. But offensively, Mike Evans, he's there. Baker Mayfield. They got the I can't remember his name, the tight end. Bucky Irving's finally giving them a running game. They've always had an offensive line. I think Tampa Bay loses in the divisional, but I think they get past Washington. And again, Washington, great season, first year, rebuilding. They got their quarterback of the future, but everything's new. And so we don't know how they're going to be in the playoffs, and they got a coach that wears their hat backwards. So, I mean, like,
I think Brian.
They can be explosive.
Like, I wear my hat backwards, but I'm an NFL head coach.
If McLaurin, the wide receiver, I think he was the first player to I don't know, he broke some record the other day talking about, I think it was related to his it was either touchdown catches or receptions or something like that.
Who's that?
Like Terry McLaurin, the receiver.
Terry and Jane Daniels have the highest QBR connection between a quarterback and wide receiver, like in the last 20 years or something like that.
Really? I did not know that.
It's like off the charts number.
Yeah.
Like when he throws to Scary Terry, it's good.
They have record-breaking numbers. They're really impressive, and he's a dual-threat quarterback, which in playoffs, it's always good. Sometimes it comes down to who's going to convert a 3rd and 7 in a crucial point of the game, and when you have a dual-threat quarterback that can make plays like that, you know, it gives you a better chance to win. So if I'm Philly or Detroit and you're feeling good because you're the top 2 seeds in the NFC, they need to watch out for teams like Tampa Bay and Washington, because those are good football teams. Maybe they don't have as impressive record, but they're not dealing with as much injuries as Detroit is, and even Philly. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been a great leader, but he's coming back, first game back. You don't know how that's going to affect him. Is he going to be rusty?
That's why I say Philly is the out-and-out favorite. They had turmoil coming in, which last year broke them apart. But the players are so in this, they're glued together. They're so in this together.
Yeah.
They overcame it, no problem. And so, despite Nick Sirianni and him trying to kill this team,
Saquon Barkley don't hurt either.
There you go.
I'm going to get ready for my diatribe and say as long as Washington has Brian Robinson, they have a shot or two.
Dave Davies, ladies and gentlemen. All right, is that the last NFC playoff team?
It.
All right, then. I don't think I picked against the home teams on this one. I'll take Denver against Buffalo. Why not?
Oh yeah.
No.
You have to pick an upset. Yeah.
I have to pick it because he took. It's not going to be Green Bay.
Washington Tampa Bay wouldn't be an upset. That's a 50-50 game.
Right.
Yeah, so I picked. Well, I'm just saying against the home team. The home teams aren't going to sweep.
If I have to take an upset, I'm taking Pittsburgh.
I don't think Baltimore loses until the championship.
I'm just saying they have trouble with Mike Tomlin.
They do.
He stands on the field like he does whatever he wants.
It's really.
I don't think the home teams are going to
how good
sweep.
Baltimore is, and how mid Pittsburgh is, but how they have their number.
It's a thing.
But the way Lamar Jackson's been playing, now the talk has been who's the MVP. I don't know if that's one of y'all's questions for this season.
He wants to do his diatribe.
The MVP thing is so. It's a quarterback award, and
it is true.
Of it.
So who should get it?
Saquon
Barkley.
Saquon.
So last year I wanted
40-something touchdowns and only 4 interceptions.
It's not as historic as people think. Like that happens all the time. Joe Burrow has that. Josh Allen has that.
Aaron Rodgers went 43-5 a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Josh Allen is got the number 2 seed, and he's 80% of their whole offense.
Quarterback, I would give it to Josh Allen. I didn't. So if Lamar didn't win it last year, I'd give it to Lamar this year. I don't like that they gave it to Lamar last year. And I don't think you can, for me, you can't have 3 MVPs and be a very pathetic quarterback in the playoffs. I don't think that's a thing you can do. I know it's a regular season award.
Aaron Rodgers had 3 MVPs and didn't make it past the divisionals. I mean,
no, he did. He had a Super Bowl.
He won one.
No, but he had 2, and then he
Super Bowl in like 08. And
yeah,
he won
but
3 MVPs.
No, he didn't. He's only got 3 MVPs.
What?
He's only got 3 MVPs.
I know, but he won all those in the teens when he wasn't getting past the divisional round.
Yeah, but he already won a Super Bowl at that point. It's all up to the voters, and the voters vote very weird. Like
I hate that it's a quarterback award. I absolutely
honestly,
if player football is Trey Hendrickson.
If I was voting 2 years ago, or I think it was, or this year, I'd give it to the Triple Crown winner. I would have given it to Cooper Kupp, and I would have given it, and I think Cooper Kupp, that would have taken it away from Mahomes. I can't remember. But I would give it to Jamar Chase this year. That's incredible what he's doing. I was 1,800 yards, 18 touch, but nobody wants to, it's all, if you think quarterback's not the most valuable position, okay, then let's give it to an offensive lineman because that's the second most important position in football.
Yeah.
So there you go. But nobody wants to do that because there's no stats for line.
Well, I mean,
There are if you're St. David. Yeah.
so who do
Keep
you
going,
think
Tigers.
the most valuable player in the NFL is? Not based off of an award that they give out. Who do you actually believe is the
most
valuable
player in the NFL is T.J. Watt.
Negative.
It's Patrick Mahomes.
The Steelers have won 4 games.
Thank you, Coach.
Patrick Mahomes. How could we not say the guy that's going en route to win his 3rd straight Super Bowl is not the most valuable player in that league?
It's the same. You know what? I'm going to say this for
they
America.
took Tyreek Hill from him, and he's still winning Super Bowls.
America, I got your back. The reason why
I don't
Chiefs
like
thing,
it, but
the
it's
reason why
the
the
truth.
Chiefs thing is what it is. It's the same thing with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. It's not organic. And that's why people are starting to hate on it because it doesn't feel right anymore. When you look at the way that they're winning, look at the way that they're winning these games, and you start looking at what's going on with the referees, it doesn't.
It's not the referees.
It doesn't feel organic, and that's why the hatred is turning on the Chiefs.
No, it's because
Nobody hated the Chiefs 2
agree
years
with
ago.
that.
Dave, it's your favorite
Nobody
saying
hated
of
the
all.
Chiefs 2 years ago.
No, it's your favorite
You're
saying.
right. I agree with what he's saying in spirit because
No,
America
it's his favorite
has
thing
a
of all
tendency
time.
to not like
They
the
cast him
dominant
aside.
team. Once you've been winning for too long, we get tired of it, and we don't. That's why
They want something new. It has nothing to do with organic. They just want
Detroit
something
Lions
new.
being good is so much more.
No, it doesn't
popular.
feel right now. The Chiefs have not scored more than 30 points in a game this
Yes, we have.
No, they haven't. Look,
Twice we scored 30 points in a
30
game.
points. They haven't broken 30 points in a game this
Since
year.
when did 31 points become a standard? Because we wanted to degrade the
By
Chiefs.
all metrics, the Chiefs should be a 500 team right now.
And the only reason they haven't scored 30 points is because they don't stat pad and they slide at the end of the
So if the
games.
Chiefs should be a 500 team right now. And
They shouldn't be. And what metric should they be? Why did you start this? Why did you start this, dude? Nobody wants to hear this anymore. Yes, because he's absolutely right. The 3-time Super Bowl MVP, the 3-time Super Bowl champion, the 2-time MVP is the most valuable player in the NFL. I'm not arguing that he's going to win the award this year, and I would like to see it go.
So that's what
it
I'm
should
saying.
go to Josh Allen because he is talented enough. History of Josh Allen, he should have had an MVP already. He plays himself out of it. He didn't play himself out of it this year. Give him the MVP.
I was going to say Lamar Jackson, the only reason why I wouldn't give him the MVP this year is because he has a lot of studs around him. Having Derrick Henry is a big deal.
You're not wrong about that.
Having Zay Flowers is a big deal.
Zay Flowers.
Having
probably rest your players.
Well, I mean, right.
I couldn't believe that.
I'm glad you didn't bring that up. I think I'm taking crazy pills. Like, I can't believe they chased the rest of their players. Like, did you see the 2 ACLs they got blown out?
Yeah, Christian Watson and Zay Flowers. They're never going to dance again.
Jeez.
I'm sorry. Everyone wanted Cincinnati in the postseason. You know what they should have done? Beat New England. I don't know.
Well,
That's why you don't hear me whining because we
stuff
lost to the
happens.
Giants.
Stuff happens, but you're actually the rest of the AFC is kind of lucky and dodged a bullet that the Bengals didn't get in.
I would disagree with that. I don't think they get past Buffalo. I would not have thought they got past Buffalo.
Okay, are you judging them off of the entire season or the season as of late? Because we
Their
all
defense is
you don't
playing better,
remember
yeah.
what the Giants. The Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls based off of getting hot at the right time and actually having a good enough team, but your season wasn't all that great, but you got hot at the right time. If Cincinnati would have gotten into the playoffs, they would have been on, what are they on, like a 6-game winning streak?
I
Something
like the
that?
comparison to the Giants.
5-game, I think.
I do like the comparison to the
It is a good
Giants.
comparison.
Having Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, that's not intimidating a little bit? A team that's red hot going into the playoffs?
But the Giants, they didn't have to go through. They didn't have to
Denver.
go through Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Like, we have to remove ourselves to see how great the quarterbacks are in the NFL right now, especially the
They beat
AFC.
Dallas.
They just had Aaron Rodgers to go through on one of them. That was it. Maybe Brett Favre.
I know they beat Dallas in the opening.
There was
round.
never like a dominant quarterback that just goes in there and takes it from you no matter what.
Well, I mean,
But
you're talking about the Giants years?
Yeah.
Except for the Super Bowl when they're facing Tom Brady and the mighty
shout out Steve
Patriots.
Spagnuolo.
So, I mean,
But they scored 17
getting
points to
hot.
beat him one year.
I'm just
Like-
saying, I'm just showing history of the NFL,
You're not wrong.
You don't want to just have a great. This happened with Philadelphia. They had a great season last year, especially the beginning of the season.
This is Dave's show, though. We're talking about this year.
Not as good. If you limp into the playoffs, you're going to limp out of the playoffs. That's what they say.
So much for my Steelers pick.
Well, no, he's not wrong about that. Where I would push back a little bit is they haven't. The last 2 weeks they played playoff teams. It's great. They won them. They barely beat the Broncos in overtime, who no one except for me is giving a chance in Buffalo. And I'm only giving them a chance because they're in my division. I see them all the time, so I know what they're capable of. And they beat the Steelers, who you say shouldn't be in the playoffs right now. I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but you're saying, like, if the season was played in the last 6 weeks, the Steelers would be 0-6. Or 0-5 or whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, I get that.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, okay, so Pittsburgh's
and the Steelers beat themselves.
Pittsburgh's in, Cincinnati's not. The AFC is happier with that result, is what I'm saying.
I would, because as a whole, yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
I would rather deal with Pittsburgh in their current situation than Cincinnati in their current situation.
I think Houston's happier, for sure.
Right.
Houston's like, hey, we play the Steelers, we got a shot.
We're okay. Russell Wilson's not. He's kind of reverted to the Bronco.
And where the Bengals started to pick it up.
He's the let's ride Russell Wilson again.
And where the Bengals started to pick it up, Louis Rumo, who's no longer with them, had the defense clicking, and they had the sack lead. It's crazy when you look at the numbers for the Bengals.
Seriously, it is.
With the season Joe Burrow had, Jamar Chase winning the Triple Crown. They had the sack leader in Trey Hendrickson. How were they so bad at football this year? So they fire everyone.
It doesn't make sense.
And I'm a big defender of Zach Taylor because I've seen him out coach Andy Reid in a big moment, and he does it often, actually, now when you think about it. But when you have all that talent that's performing that well, you have to look at the coach and say, all right, you got to go at this point. And I know Cincinnati fans have wanted him gone for a couple of years now, and I've been defending him, but I mean, the record speaks for itself. You lose a postseason berth with all that talent, the players playing the way they are, not just talent, performing talent. You kind of have to look at the coach at that point.
You do, and that's a real tough situation because at what point do you give credit to the coach for that offensive production?
Goddamn those facts. Oh, sorry.
All right.
Sorry about that. That's a good segue.
The one that's going to get us in trouble.
That's a good way. That's a good segue to Dave's diatribe. Should have put the disclaimer out before that on me. My bad about that. Hopefully, I was away from the mic when I said that. Can't bleep it now. Anyway, it's going to take us to Dave Davies. He's ranting, he's raving. It's what we call Dave, and it's time for Dave's diatribe. Dave, take it away.
We need to call it "What's in Dave's cup."
Speaking of
what's in water.
What's in that cup moment?
What's in Paul's cup after that one? What am I doing here?
Well, speaking of limping into something, all right, let's limp into this diatribe here. It's pretty well known that if you take the three major commissioners of all three sports and put them in a room with me, I would fight all three of them at the same time because I absolutely cannot stand them.
What's your problem with baseball? They're doing better now.
Rob Manfred? Oh, yeah. When he puts Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame next year, yeah, I'll be right there to kick him right in the scrotum.
It's not his fault. He's lifetime banned.
He could have put him in last year.
He's banned for life. He can't see himself go in the Hall of Fame. That was his punishment.
He's been the commissioner for 10 years. He could have, anyways, it doesn't matter. Today we're going to talk about Roger Goodell. Now, this is just a little thing. Coach, do you know how much a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader makes per game? I'm just curious if you know the answer to that.
$100.
I don't think it's very much.
It's $150.
Barbie, shout out Barbie Knight. She told me that. She watched a documentary about it.
In 2020, Roger Goodell made $65 million. Roger Goodell. So the referees aren't full-time employees. The cheerleaders are making $150 a game, and you make $65 million. And what do you do with all your power and all your garbage? Let's add a seventh playoff team to make sure that Week 18 of the NFL doesn't have any value at all. Let's put two teams in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where it's so dangerous that they have to do the hotel 20 miles away from the stadium, wear body armor to a stadium that doesn't allow the color green. And by the way, what two teams should we put in there? The Eagles and the Packers. Let's go ahead and do 4 games 8 hours away in England and Germany, because we're talking about player rest and the 3 games in 11 days. That would in no way impact a player's performance if they have to take a 9-hour flight and have jet lag and play the game at 4 o'clock in the morning in London, England, where they can't even get a proper meal.
What about the 4 teams?
Germany.
3 games in 10 days to player safety.
Everything that Roger Goodell does, he does wrong, and they just keep upping his pay, and the ratings keep going up, and we keep buying into it. Tune in next Sunday to see if the Rams can hold on. Shut up. I hate Roger Goodell. I definitely hate all of you. He keeps screwing it up. And we keep watching it, and we're just going to keep making these mistakes for years and years and years. And next year, we're going to watch football again, and it's going to be even worse than it is this year. Let's just keep running it back over and over and over again. Thank you, Roger Goodell. I hope you enjoy your life.
I'm sorry, brother. We're going to watch it
in that cup.
I'm sorry. You can hate Rob Manfred, you can hate Roger Goodell, but right now what they're doing is drawing viewers. And they keep expanding this game.
Boy, did you watch Week 18 football? Because I didn't.
I did, actually.
Well, what was there to watch? Well, all the playoff implications?
The Vikings, Lions, really?
Yeah.
Well, there, because there was a couple teams, I think the Rams were one of them, that had the ability to improve their position, and they just rested their starters, because rest is more important.
By the way, I was totally right, and I love proving you wrong. I sent you the schedule for 2012. I sent you the schedule for 2004. They never did NFL games
it's 2
on
years.
Saturdays.
It's 2 years.
Okay, we can go to every year.
Go ahead.
This is a new thing.
On week 18 is what you said. Now, week 17's had it.
Every game takes place on Sunday, so nobody has an unfair advantage as far as rest goes. And what they do, the NFL greedy. Let's do 2 games on Saturday. Let's give Baltimore and Pittsburgh an extra day of rest, which we've never done before. But let's do it now because we're so darn greedy. I can control it.
Attaboy. Well,
yeah, greed has a lot to do with it. I think his job is to increase revenue. That's his number one job.
The NBA, I might
have. And he's doing a good job of that. You got to think who these commissioners work for. They actually work for the owners. And and what matters to them then is not the opinion of all of the fans. It's the opinion of the owners.
Lord forbid.
They're making so much money under Roger Goodell that each owner's like, yeah, I'll give him $2 million a year. He's making 65. Man,
absolutely. And we think about
penny change.
Playing an extra game in a season, not just for viewership on TV, because that's a big deal, but usually those contracts are laid out for per season. So having one game is just basically additional. But for each team that's going to get an additional home game, that's millions of dollars at each game that owner gets to make. And then these players Patrick Mahomes isn't worried. He doesn't want to play another game in the season. But the third string quarterback would like to have another game because that might be the game that he gets to play in, and that's another game check.
That's why I thought Carson Wentz was going to play well. I was wrong.
And this is why I hate professional sports, because where did this conversation lead to? Money.
Absolutely.
Money.
Every time.
Money. Why do you think I'm going to be in Benson, Arizona tonight?
And kids playing for money? And that's why that's why a lot of people, including yourself, are turned off from college sports, because now college is about money. And the players should have gotten paid, but everyone saw it coming down the tracks. Like, once money gets involved, then there's money decisions and there's business. Yeah. And there was a tradition, there was a pageantry to college football and basketball. Yeah. I watch college basketball all the time. Now, I couldn't tell you, the rosters change in basketball
every year.
I can't get behind a team anymore. So just
that's why what you guys do is good, because it keeps the high school game relevant enough to fans and viewers, where we don't, from the fan perspective, you're not just limited to pro sports. You can get wrapped up in your community sports and whatever town you live in. Hey, go support that high school basketball team or football team, baseball, whatever. You don't have to only be a fan of the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Dave and I argue about what our impact is often. I downplay what we do all the time. It's just my personality. Like, anything I do, kind of whatever it is. But I did see in Cochise College last game the stands were kind of getting full. So I was happy about that. Thank you to everyone showing that we do make an impact and coming out to support these teams that are honestly really great in Cochise County, football through baseball and all of it.
Behind the curtains conversation that we talk about, like, if we got offered, do you want to go do college sports? I'm like, are you allowed to bet on it? Then the answer is probably going to be no. Once you start allowing betting on high school sports, I'm going to start doing junior high sports. I want to do sports that have integrity involved and not Vegas pushing a button somewhere. And I'm trying, because what I do is genuine. And so I'm not going to go to what I believe is a rigged product and be like, oh, the Wildcats have won the day. As I'm watching the referees hand it to a team or another team, like, because there's money involved in it.
You are psychotic it's rigged, but I'm going to watch it.
No.
and root.
What I'm saying is I have
Yeah.
trouble bringing a genuine passion.
Do you
to a
understand
game
the contradictory
if I
to
believe
that?
that
No, I
what
get
I'm
what you're
watching
saying,
is
but
genuine.
please. But anyway, but yeah,
Well, I
I'm
like the high school sports.
I'll put $50 down on every single Buena Colts home game.
Hey.
Let me tell you, basketball.
Hey, that's money well spent. That's money well
For
spent.
sure. But anyway,
No, but no, I seriously no. It is an impact that you guys have, and it should grow and grow more and more. Like what you're saying, it's like it's still a pure product.
Yes.
You know, if you're a
is.
sports fan, and not just that, it's actually our kids. You know, it's people
I
that
was
are.
just telling somebody
It's your
yesterday how
community.
good
It's your
these kids
neighbors.
are. They're such good.
If you live
kids.
around
Yep.
whatever community, if you live in Benson or Bisbee, whatever, these are your community kids and players. So if you're a sports fan, you already have a love of the game, whatever your sport is. You know, these are people in your community, your neighbors, and especially when your team is good and having success, go support that team, and you're gonna get your sports fix and
Yes.
you know
Yes.
you know and
I'm
you
gonna
guys
get way more satisfaction from the day than I did from NFL Sunday.
right, and when you guys highlight players and you know the small schools from 1A all the way up, that gives them an opportunity to, I mean, not just the players, I mean those that are following those teams and players, to even get more attached to their community teams, because like we were saying with the college game, it's hard to really fall in love with the college team because the players change so often. And I remember
Hey, you're just in love with the jersey, not
I was
the team.
right. You're just right. I remember, you know, I'm an Oklahoma guy, Oklahoma Sooners, and
Shout out Blake Griffin.
I grew up that way, so I loved that team and would love those players, even though when we weren't nationally ranked and didn't have guys that would go to the NBA or anything like that. But I still felt connected to that team and those players because they'd be there for a while. It's not the same in college anymore. Players are there, especially the good ones. They're there 1 year. If they're not that good and they don't play that much, they transfer and all that. But it's not that way in high school. With our high school sports, you can get connected to these players. That's why it's good that you guys do your research. You know the names of all the players and all the sports.
there's not a single thing that I'm going to be a part of
Number
where I'm not
3 and
prepared.
number 12. Number 3 and number 12. Wow.
Right. You know these players. You know you get to know them, and then by their second year playing varsity, their third year, you even know them even more.
There's stories to be
stuff like
told.
that.
Yeah,
So-
by that third year, like these are our boys.
Right.
Like Sebastian
Right.
and DJ, these are my kids. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's everything that we used to love about college sports.
Yeah, you're
back
right.
in the day, everything that we love about professional sports, because we love having our hometown team have, you know, this is our quarterback and he's our quarterback for 15 years. Like
Yeah.
we love that, you know, and the only thing that would make it better is if this is your hometown team and your quarterback's from your hometown too. Like that's the dream, right? Like, and that's what you get with high school sports.
Kenny
Like,
Pickett.
these guys are your guys too. Like when we have a good team, hey, yeah, that's the kid lives down the street from me.
Yep.
You know, so really, you guys are doing a good thing. Keep it up, and it's good exposure, especially for the smaller school teams too.
Well, and honestly, the fact that there was not Division I schools, and I understand recruiting's a little different nowadays, coming down to at least Buena, I thought that was crazy.
But yeah,
The talent that was here, I was just like, these kids need some help.
so money
Yeah.
driven now. It's
Yeah,
like,
it is. It
Because
is.
yeah, you were right. 20 years ago, there's D1 scouts all up in there, and now it's like, oh, I don't need that anymore. I have the internet. And I can do.
well now
Things have just
I'm
changed.
having to talk with our players now. The landscape has changed so much.
You have to go JUCO.
You have to, if you're good enough. And you have to be really, really good to even get there. But D1 coaches are not looking for high school players anymore.
Nope.
Why when they could get a kid that's unhappy at another D1
Yep.
that's already been college trained and proven
He
it
can
for a
he
year.
can play on the court.
You know, there's a handful of high school kids that are going to go somewhere, but you know, those are the best of the best guys. Those guys that are going
Yeah.
to be there 1
Half
year.
of the 1%. Yeah.
Well, for football, we were talking about it because Rivals came out, the recruiting, when I was in high school football and stuff, and my teammates were on there, and I'm like, am I there? I wasn't. But yeah, so you go to 3 stars, you hardly see 3 stars signed anymore. You got to be 4 stars to get any looks at all.
And especially
in basketball, there's only 5 spots on the court at a time.
And basketball has gotten crazy because of the international influence and the international love for the game. So a high school kid now, for example, the kids that go to our schools here, if we have a really, really great basketball player and he wants to go maybe to a Division I, he'd have to compete with all the other Division I and II players, even JUCO players that have already been playing for a couple years. And then you have international kids. There's kids all over the country that take basketball serious, that they're hungry for an opportunity to, you mean I can go to the U.S. and they'll pay for my college education and all I got to do is play basketball for this team. And,
now pay you as well.
Right, now make money. So that's why every college, the top schools, they have a handful of guys from Nigeria, guys from Germany, guys from all over the world.
We see it at Cochise College all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Cochise College is great at that, giving guys an opportunity. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing worldwide.
We had an African girl last year that was dominating.
For Tuan and Gawa, they still have them. They have the Aussies for the boys.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you get guys from
Lewis Wilson
and
still
if you're
there.
a high school kid in Arizona, you're trying to go somewhere to play college, you got to compete against all the kids coming from all over the world that play this
Cochise
game.
College had a Japanese player last year. I mean, it's like you said, the best of the best.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's Cochise College. International players have to go JUCO routes now too.
And they love it.
Oh yeah.
To them, that's an unbelievable opportunity because they don't think of Douglas, Arizona, as the same way American kids would think of. Oh, I got to move way out here. It's just an American city to an international athlete. It's like, oh, I get to come to America and they'll pay for my education. I get to play basketball and continue this dream or whatever. So for our kids, it's a rat race to even get anything. Yep. So I'm pushing all of our best athletes to, if they can get an opportunity to get to a JUCO with a good coach and a quality
Cochise
program,
College,
like Cochise, Pima Community College, Scottsdale Community College. These are just the ones here local. We have a few in New Mexico that look at our area for talent and stuff.
Texas as well.
They get those opportunities. They got to take it. JUCO is the way to go for
Shout out Hall of Fame head coach Jerry Carrillo. From NJCAA Hall of Fame head coach. Sorry, that's how I say his name all the time.
They have a great program there. Coach Carrillo,
Coach Opath,
Coach
from the
Dave
ladies.
Thomas. I mean, Dave Matthews. Good friend of mine and coach. I coach with a lot, and he's over at Cochise as well too. So, yeah, that's the dream. And really, even at that, back in the day, a few years ago, the best players would kind of turn their nose up at a JUCO because they're thinking, I want to go to U of A or I want to go to.
Well, back in the day, the best players were going to the NBA and crashing out before they got their contract in.
You know what? I wasn't able to do my trivia question today. Before we sign off here, thank you, Sierra Vista Golf Center, Pueblo Del Sol. Come down here and play some golf. I did have a trivia question. I want to know if you know the answer to this.
Okay.
Who was the first player to go directly from the high school to the NBA?
Oh, I know the most famous one.
I don't think you do because the most famous one is the first one.
There's a few.
Oh, no.
The most famous one is.
It wasn't Timmy Duncan, was it?
No.
Oh.
Was it earlier?
Yes. It only happened one time until like 1988.
Sebastian Talaferro.
Moses
It
Malone.
was Moses Malone.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Moses Malone.
Yeah.
And the next one to do it was Sean Kemp.
Moses Malone. Then it became a
And
trend
Sean
where
Kemp
guys
actually
were
went to
doing
Trinity
it.
Valley Junior College in Texas, so he didn't technically go from the high school to the NBA. So the next one after Moses Malone was actually Kevin Garnett.
Look at the big brain
Who's
on
the last guy to do
Brad.
it?
To go high school to the NBA.
He's the most famous one.
Well, LeBron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that the last?
Well, no. It was Kobe, Garnett.
Kobe went
Shaquille
international.
O'Neal did it.
Yeah,
and
Kobe
Kobe
was
went
a while there.
international.
There were. There was
It
a
was a
couple
thing
other
for a
guys.
minute.
Yeah, Jermaine O'Neal. A couple
Kwame
other
Brown.
guys snuck in.
That's who
there.
I was going to guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, that was it for me.
Probably-
I'm going to go push stop on the thing.
I'm going to go
We will
push
see you
stop on the
tonight-
thing.
We will see you tonight in Benson, Arizona. Wait, I opened. You get to close.
Yeah, but I'm going to go push stop on the thing. I got something to show some people here. So thank you to Synergy Home Care, providing non-medical home care all across Cochise and Santa Cruz County. And as Dave said, thank you to the Sierra Vista Golf Center.
Yes, sir. We will see you folks tonight in Benson, Arizona. We'll watch some Wilcox and Benson basketball. Y'all have yourselves a fine week, and we're going to culminate this thing on Friday night with the Buena Colts. So enjoy your week. Let's do some sports, baby.
Go Colts. Never mind that graphic.